Hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to talk about some multi-platform stuff. Yep. It's been a little bit since the last 3 videos about this. Yep. So I decided against doing a really big thing like I was thinking I would do, and I decided to try and condense it. And that was pretty tricky. So don't be like, oh my goodness, you didn't include that said title. You must be murdered and immediately exterminated with all forms of prejudice. Exterminate. There's a lot of good games, yeah? So, let's start off, yeah? So, did anyone order pizza? I think I did. It comes straight from Kathlyn. Yeah. The nice limited edition of Kathlyn. But anyway, the Kathlyn. Kathlyn was a multi-platform between the PS3 and the Xbox 360, and it was definitely a very odd game coming from Atlas. Atlas's actual development, not just they're publishing some other game company. It was a really odd puzzle. It's like a mature keyboards in a way. It's very weird. It has a social game aspect out of the gameplay, and then during the night when Vincent dreams, it has this weird puzzle climbing and that, and it's really fun. I really liked it. It was also notoriously difficult originally when it launched in Japan, and they updated it to actually have an easier mode, which, well, for Japan, that's kind of scary, because we're talking about the motherfuckers that had a lot of real fucking hard-ass Mega Man games compared to us, so... I mean, a lot of the early Mega Man games were dumbed down in a few different entries. So, but Kathlyn was a very interesting title, and I definitely think it was a very noteworthy title to get for either of the two systems. Now, here's a much older title, which was originally only on the 360, but no longer. It was later ported to the PS3 with a better enhanced version. And that is Enchanted Arms from FromSoft. Yes, those guys, the guys who made the Souls games. Enchanted Arms isn't a perfect game by far, that's for sure. It's not a perfect game. It was basically being flaunted as the first RPG on the 360, which I'm not 100% sure is true, because maybe for America, but I don't think it is for Japan, because I'm pretty sure there was this one samurai-ish RPG game that was on the 360 long before it, but it's a pretty interesting title, but it's not a very standard RPG fare. It has a small tactics table you move your characters in, along with turn-based combat, and certain moves affecting the enemy's area of their tactics grid. So it's a very small tactics touch to it with turn-based combat. It's a very simplified tactics style game, but it had very good graphics. Voice acting was some spotty here and there, and it has a very big Pokemon system where you can get a lot of monsters and that. So it tried to appeal to a lot of different ideas, and it has a what I refer to as a versus elemental system as opposed to an elemental circle, where like each element is weak against another and strong against others. Instead, the versus system is where one element and another element or each other's weaknesses and strengths. So you could basically say ice and fire, they're each other's weakness, but also each other's strength. So, you know, fire can do more damage against ice, but ice can also do more damage against fire. So, you know, it's kind of a whisk reward system now. But Enchanted Arms was a pretty interesting title. I believe there was some more monsters and a few added mechanics to the PS3 version, so that's probably the better version to go with. Let's see, let's talk about this one. 360 and PC, and that would be Super Meat Boy. Yeah, you know, I talk about that I'm not really good at platformers, so why do I have Super Meat Boy? which is like the hell of platforming, because it's really addicting. It's a very satisfying gameplay feel. It's stuff like Super Meat Boy, Cave Story, Symphony in the Night, Metroid that make side-scrolling platforming games really fun for me. They have that incentive touch that a lot of platformer games don't touch. And Super Meat Boy is basically the Dark Souls of platforming. Sadistically evil, where you must know what the fuck you're doing. And I, of course, have not beaten it because I suck at it. But it is very enjoyable, though. What next to talk about? A title I really wanted to show in my Wii video. No More Heroes. And you might be asking, why is that doing in your multi-platform video? No More Heroes is sorry wrong. It's on the PS3. I heard the PS3 version's awful too, so I don't know if that's true, but I've heard it's awful. And it's a real shame, because this is an excellent Wii title. I really loved No More Heroes. It was one of the first third-party games for the Wii that I was really excited about. That wasn't, Nintendo. And Ubisoft published, I believe, the first and second one, I think, for America. I think. I don't remember. But definitely a worthwhile title. The second one has a little more air, but I think the first one's pretty good one. Now, what can we go to next? Let's go to something that's probably not so shocking. XCOM, Enemy Unknown. Its expansion just came out recently, or sequel, or however you want to freaking look forward to it. I never played the XCOM game before this, and before this, there was a whole third-person debacle that ended up as junk, basically. And, there was the whole betrayal thing by Spooner, from the Spooner one, and, that obviously leads to some mixed feelings. Angry Joe and Spoonie both said this game was pretty faithful. Not as challenging or hard, and some things were missing in that, but overall they said it was pretty faithful. And to be honest, I really like this game, and it really got me interested to try and seek out the past games of this series, because I'm really liking it. And if the past games actually offer anything just even better than what it is, I don't see why you shouldn't even check out the past games. But on PC, 360, and PS3, XCOM Enemy Unknown is probably a great gateway to get into the series, since it is supposedly slightly easier and more forgiving than the old ones before you go to the old ones. So, it's probably a good gateway drug into the series. Now here's one I think Sega CD Universe will be happy to hear. Deadly Premonition, which was on the 360 and the PS3. It's like a Dreamcast game on a modern console. Anyone who's been into survival horror games, and I can get the 360 one out real quick if I can find it real quick. Where are you? 360 version? Because it has a bit of a creepier cover there. But this is the PS3 version, and PC got director's cut version, while the 360 got the original release. So technically the PC and PS3 version are supposedly supposed to be superior versions. But anyway, Deadly Premonition, very reminiscent of the PS1, Sega Saturn, Dreamcast kind of era of survival horror games. If you liked a lot of the survival horror games back then, Resident Evil, and a lot of the weird niche games that were then, like Ill Bleed and Blue Stinger and I can't think of everything off the top of my head. There's a lot of weird survival horror games back then. If you really got into that weird stuff, you probably should check out Deadly Premonition. It's like the Dreamcast version of Resident Evil 4, in a way you could say. It is a third-person, over-the-shoulder kind of game when it comes to shooting enemies and that. But like the whole atmosphere of the game just has this mediocrity to it. That's just so adorable. Like, it's just, you have to experience it. It's so weird how it reconnects you to that age if you loved games of that age. It's just so bizarre, and the story just, of course, tops it off even more and shit. Daily Player Mission is definitely a title worth checking out if you were into really old survival horror games back in the day, because I'm sure it will guarantee recapture those moments for you. Now, what is next on the plate? Let's go with, of course, another one that was more of a pretty good hit. Alan Wake for the 360 and PC. And you can also get it on Good Old Games, DRM free, with the expansions. Anyway, Alan Wake is a pretty good game in my opinion, and probably the only one that could use the whole last time on Alan Wake crap that a lot of other games wanted to use, like Final Fantasy 13 2, the newest Alone in the Dark that failed really badly in that. I don't know why games want to do that, but Alan Wake kind of actually made that work out, because that worked to its kind of atmosphere of its story, you could say, because, you know, he was a book writer, and the whole thing started ending up to revolve around that a lot, so, not to spoil anything. But Alan Wake is a pretty nice survival horror game. It's definitely not intensely hard. It is very enjoyable. I liked it. The third expansion thing, which was a kind of its own standalone arcade title on the 360, I'm trying to remember what it was called. He's still lost and shit, and I really hate how they just cliffhang the whole fucking thing, to be honest. I mean, the two expansions that were for the original game didn't add a whole lot. And then you had that weird standalone thing on the 360 arcade, which is also on Good Old Games and probably Steam and all that stuff. And it just got left in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what the fuck happens, you know? I kind of hate that. And, you know, it took Remedy, the creators of Max Payne, almost like a huge chunk of the 360's lifespan to get this out. This was originally supposed to be a launch title for the 360. It took forever to get that out of the door. Was it worth it? Probably, because it probably wouldn't have been as good then. But I would love to get the sequel. It kind of stopped fucking telling us more about. A very good game. If you like good story, you like, really, I think all the controls and everything were pretty nice in that, you know. It wasn't a weird, stupid shit and stuff, so. If you're in survival horror again, that might be a title worth checking out too. Something more recent, Dragon Crown, available on the PS3 and the Vita, is a lovely reminiscence of side-scroll beat-em-up with RPGs, looting system, reminiscence of Diablo. Hundreds of levels, hundreds of challenges, tons of random shit after the story net. Dragon's Crown could entertain you for really forever, possibly. Aside from its slightly odd character art for the females that has brought controversy to the game, this is a very excellent side-scroll beat-em-up game. And it is a bit of a shame that it's not available on more consoles, but, you know, and you could consider the cop-out there and counting it as a multi-platform because it's on Vita, but bleh. Now, The Walking Dead by Telltale's Game. I recently got the Game of the Year edition that comes with 400 days on a physical disc, which is awesome, because it was either when it gets on GOG or a physical disc of it. And physical disc came first. I'm kind of surprised there's still no GOG, even though Telltale's games do show up on GOG, so I'm not quite sure what's taking so long for that. Maybe they were waiting for 400 days. Maybe they wanted to do a physical disc for a start out now. But either way, I have gone 2 episodes into The Walking Dead. It's most excellent. I've been very enjoying the story. The only thing is that kind of bothers me is it always seems like there's this no matter what you choose thing, you're a dick kind of thing. Like, I understand certain choices are meant to be like that, show like pressure of the survival and that, but I mean, some moments just legitimately feel like it's like no matter what I do, I'm a dick. So that kind of bothers me some. Now here's one that got a lot of mixed feelings. Eternal Sonata. Some of the Enchanted Arms, it was originally a 360 exclusive, but it later got a port to the PS3 that had additional stuff. 2 characters, a slightly different ending, I believe, and I think it had an additional boss too you could fight. But Eternal Sonata was a game that both made me happy and sad at the same time. It did not meet what I was hoping it would be. It disappointed a little in that part, but it was still a very enjoyable game. Playing as Frederick Chopin, the famous pianist. You may have heard tons of his music from really old cartoons because all of it's public domain. You know, if you're my age group and you grew up on like Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and that, you'd be surprised you probably already know his music more than you thought. Hell, even his music's in Kathlyn. Some of the remixed songs in it are all from Frederick Chopin. So, yeah, at least I think they will. I think there was one for Beethoven. And I'm pretty sure there was at least one for Frederick Chopin and Kathlyn. Might have to double check that. Somebody down below will probably yell at me if I was wrong. But anyway, he's on his deathbed. We all know he died. Well, anyone who actually knows him, he knows he died of a throat disease that was incurable at the time. He's on his deathbed, and he's basically dreaming, and that's what this whole game is. This whole imaginary, colorful world, this RPG is all in his head. And it's really a question of life and death and stuff like that. And it didn't quite turn out how I wanted, but it still was very enjoyable. I still say it's worthwhile, but be prepared for some differences. And then the last one's another limited edition. It's on the 360 and the PS3, and now it's on the PC. But the only physical version for America was the 360. Can you guess where it is? Does it involve anime? You're right. And this is a very odd one. I actually liked it, the first record of the August War game. But its questionable advertisement of its limited edition leaves a little more I need to tuck this under my shirt and let nobody ever see it desires. I mean, the front at least ain't that bad, but good lord, some of the shit on the sides just... I mean, come on! Like, could you imagine going to GameStop like, oh, do. It's like, it's like really giving the wrong idea about the game. The game, it's a really long and taxing game. It's a very big tactics strategy game. And it takes a lot of fucking time to get the true ending, especially on your first playthrough. You're going to spend a lot of time fucking doing hard work to get the true ending on your first time. It was a very enjoyable game, and I sadly have to say I have not had the same exact enjoyment from Zero. Because it feels more like a watered down game that's using assets from the original, really, as opposed to more of a actual sequel, which is a prequel, but you know what I mean. But the original game, I really liked it. It took a long time to fucking get finished, beat it, and win, but I really enjoyed the experience from the beginning to the end. I found a lot of the main characters except for, I think it was Generation 4, I believe? Because I think Generation 3 was Thomas, right? The pervy joke dude. He was funny, actually. The fourth one was like, I think it's the fourth one. I might have him reversed too, but I didn't like the generation with the main character who was like all serious and emo for most of his story until like the end where it was like more opened up to him. But overall, I really liked all the characters and everything. Besides its weird pervy nature, a generation RPG is still not a common thing. I really like the idea of an RPG where your characters can get married, have children that continue on a story. It adds a form of customization to the generations and that. And it's a really nice system, but there's so few RPGs even now that do that. It's really something that should be explored more, and that's probably the main reason I like this series. I still haven't played 2. I have 2 on the PS3 there, which is still exclusive to the PS3, but I haven't played it yet. I heard it plays like cross-edge, so maybe that'll be more interesting for me. So anyway, those are the games I picked to show off that I think kind of stood out in a multi-platform way that ain't all the, at least the hugest, biggest hype things of that, or at least I wouldn't consider them the biggest hype stuff, so. I will be eventually doing something for the PSP and the DS, and I don't have Vita, so I can't really say much about Vita. 3DS, I don't really have a lot of stuff on the 3DS, so not really worth talking about. But actually, wait a minute, but this is supposed to be for systems that are dead and gone, so I guess, what am I talking about? Why am I even considering the Vita and 3DS? They're not dead, they're all still alive. Wake up. That's early in the morning. But anyway, yes, that's what I've chosen. There's plenty more games, you know, like Overlord is something I passed up putting on this list. I liked it. Overlord, it was like weird, murderish rampage of Pikmin. I mean, they're all a lot of good games, and it's hard to pick them all. It's definitely hard to play them all, and it's definitely hard to buy them all, because, you know, that costs money. Anyway, you know, let me know what games you think in a multi-platform aspect really stood out on all previous consoles of the PS3, Xbox, and such that you think were really good. I'd love to hear them. I always love taking suggestions, you know. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.